Everything, everything gonna be all right this morning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back locked and loaded after a few technical difficulties here, but we managed to persevere. We are chatting with my man Patrick Walker today, man. I'm just super stoked, man. Wow. I've been following him, his career for a hot minute on the book. I mean, he's been grinding. I mean, help me out, Patrick. It's been, a decade plus. I mean, you've seen this Cat in Power, The Resident, Grey's Anatomy, Iron Fist. We were just recently talking a little bit. He got to work with the Samuel L. Jackson in the last days of Ptolemy Gray. And most recently, man, he's co-starring with an ensemble cast of incredibly talented human beings, most notably Sean Penn, Julia Roberts, Patton Oswalt, and like I said, just a whole group of very, very talented actors in Gaslit, where he plays Mr. Frank Wills, who, man, he was the stone in the pond that created that ripple effect that, no spoiler alert, because it is a historical fact, brought down a president. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing extreme. I feel great.
Good, man. Like I said, we woke up today. Everything else is gravy.
It's all good, man.
Yes.
We're above water. We're above ground.
Every day above ground's a good day. Man, I was like, kind of like superheroes, man. I always like to hear the origin story of cats, man. And, you grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, correct?
Yes, sir.
And, just reading up a little bit about you, it was fascinating because, Jacksonville, the Ville has its, its grimy parts. I got family down there.
Yes.
How did that environment shape and cultivate, the man you are today? Because, you didn't allow your environment and the toxic aspects of it to define you. You set the bar high and you wound up doing, learning what not to do. So how did that environment help shape who you are today, my man?
I think that the benefit of growing up in certain areas is that you can learn from the negatives, and you can also learn from the positives of it. I know that where I grew up, the people that I was exposed to and the people that I knew who may be deemed not good people to others, I learned a lot of core values. Like one really important thing about where I grew up was there was almost like these rules to live by, like this code to live by. And, just being loyal, being honest, being a man of your word. And I feel like values like those, are things that I hold very true in my career now. And then I learned what not to do. It's almost like it's a story of when you have they say, if you have parents who both are heavy drinkers and they have two children. One of those children may be a heavy drinker as well, and the other one may not drink at all because they've seen their parent do it. So I think growing up where I grew up, I saw the negative effects of a lot of things. So it's brought me to live a life where I've never done any drugs, or I never smoked anything, or any, I've never drank before. So I think seeing so many negatives, I found a way to, God has given me the grace to be able to have the knowledge to not touch certain things.
Wow. Well, that's heavy though, man, because it's just like, it's something you're born with, like you said, and some people do fall through the cracks, but I mean, you set a higher standard for yourself, and you obviously lived up to it, and that hard work and that dedication to those values has paid off for you, man. It's really cool. So when did that acting bug bite you? Because I know as kids, oftentimes people say, I want to be, in Hollywood or an actor without knowing how the sausage is made, because it's very, very hard work, take after take after take, shows like what you're working on, so your CSI's like 16-hour day, very, very long days. So when did that bug bite you, and when did you decide to really dedicate yourself to, really putting in the work?
Yeah, so I think initially it bit me. Initially, when I was in fifth grade, I did a play when I was really young. It was like a little school play that we did, and I went to a private school that was connected to a church. So we did like a church Christmas play, and it was me and another young lady. Her name was Kimberly, and we did this. We did like a little small play, and it kind of interweaved with performances from other kids from the school when they sung and stuff like that. So that was the initial time. And then when I moved to Atlanta after high school, I was just looking for like acting classes in the area, found a class, and my first class I went in, I got there early. I was in there first by myself. And I remember sitting there thinking like, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And I've been doing it since that day.
Yeah. And again, when you set the bar as high for yourself, again, you kind of dedicated yourself to putting in the work. And did that shock you? I mean, the initial thought of like acting and then realizing the real work that goes into acting, was that a big transition for you, or were you just ready to do whatever you needed to do, to perfect your craft and sharpen the sword?
Yeah, I think I just was ready. And it's one of those things too, like when you talked about like where we come from, the like I've lived a very get it like how you live lifestyle. Like you have to get it yourself if you want it. So from being like I was like the track team captain in high school. I was like I'd always led things throughout my life, and I always done a lot of work. Like I've always been a very hard worker. So when it came down to acting, the once I had access and I kind of got knowledge of like, okay, you start off by doing short films, student films, indie films, and then you get an agent, you do auditions and stuff like that. So once I got into it and I started figuring out like steps of what to do, then it wasn't it never seemed too hard to me. It never felt like, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. Oh, this is too hard.
Right.
It just kind of felt like if I just keep chopping at the tree, then it'll fall eventually.
Well, and that kind of dedication and passion helps you, those 5 a.m., those 3 a.m. call times. And like I said, those long days
Yeah.
on set, you got to have that work ethic. Cause, yeah, it's, all that glitters is not gold. And, you obviously have a passion for what you do. And like I said, it's paying off, man. And like I said, I've been following you on the book for a minute. What was it? 2015, you were one of the winners of the team Oscars competition where you guys were able to deliver the Oscar statuettes to celebrity presenters at the 87th Academy Awards. What was that like, man?
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was life changing. Because see, man, the thing is, like, I feel like prior to that moment, like, I really wanted an award. I mean, I still want awards now. Like, I still would love to win an Emmy this year. I still would love to win an Oscar when it's time. But I was really heavy on like winning awards, and I like went and I was doing every film festival, just racking up. Everything was just so like, oh, I want to win things. And then when I went to the Academy Awards, I realized how unimportant all of it was. I was
Really?
like, yes, man. I was like, it was great, but I looked into the audience and I still saw people who were on their phones and like who were texting in between. I'm like, everybody's here. You know what I'm saying? You got your family next to you. You got the agents are like, it felt like, it almost felt like that world wasn't real. Like it
Mm.
wasn't, it wasn't like, I don't know. I just felt like I saw it bigger in my brain than it actually was. It kind of brought the experience, it kind of brought the whole thing down for me. It just made it more eye level because I had like statues and things on a pedestal in a way. And
Yeah,
then like that
yeah.
moment really just grounded and made it like, okay, if I get an award, cool. If not, I'm going to do my best work every day. I go to work anyway. So
And
it
that's
was a
hugely
life
important,
changing
man.
experience.
Yeah. It's because, like, a lot of people, again, go, I'm going to be an actor for almost the ego trip of it. And that's the wrong motivation because that's not what,
Right.
when that motivation's gone, you still have to have that discipline to do take after take on those long shoots and those early morning call times. But,
Yeah.
like you just said, the statues, the accolades has to be a byproduct of your passion, your success, not your motivating factor. But, I mean,
Exactly.
that's interesting, though, man, because that's, you're still a young man, and to have that veneer almost taken off because the Oscars is the Oscars, and granted you're starstruck being there, but to have that kind of insight, I mean, wow, I think that's pretty deep, man, because that's
Yeah.
obviously you have the passion to do it anyway, but the motivation stopped being about the more the awards, the more not the artificial, but the external stuff.
Yeah. Because essentially it's almost, it's like, if that is the thing, then what happens when you get it? It's like that almost feels like that's when your mission, that's when your job is done. And it kind of feels like if it's about like an award, if it's about praise, if it's about something like that, then I mean, it could end, and then I think it could send you to like a detrimental place. But I think if my goal is to help people, if my goal is to like motivate and like lead people the right direction, if my goal is to like get some money, go out here and like build communities, and like if it's to actually save a world, then like there's no way I'm going to help every single person. But like if my
Sure.
goal is to help as many people as possible, then I will never run out of work. I never run out of something to do because it's always more people
Yeah, always.
to be of service, and I would want my career, my life to be a life of service to God and of service to just humanity. So
Yeah.
as much as it was about statues, then it just kind of canceled, and it's like, all right, let's just we'll do the films, we'll be one of the greatest of all time, and we'll take that and we will go to the streets and we will feed people and we will do things that matter because nobody does things that matter. So I'm gonna be just effective.
Well, and it's interesting because and I've not been on the level you are, but I mean, Hollywood is kind of notorious for not that kind of altruistic mentality. Like you said, people are still on their phones at the Oscars. Have you found that you're kind of a fish out of water with that mentality in an area, an environment like a Hollywood?
Yeah, in a way, yes. But my mom used to she used this analogy on me one time, and I had a really witty answer, and she was mad, but it worked. She said, if you take a white glove and you put it in mud, what happens? And she was just trying to say, like, oh, like she wanted me to say, oh, the glove will get muddy. And it's like, oh, then the glove will be dirty. But like, my thing was, what kind of glove is it? You know, like, is it a glove that like is resistant to that mud?
Right,
So
right.
it's like, so I see it as like, oh, if I have a mindset, if God has given me a certain level of thought, then I can take that thought and be an influence. And then there's going to be so many people who are touched by that thought, who then adapt that thought. And then now we create an army of people who can service the world, and just instead of like just little bits of people here and there.
Yeah, man. That's what Tupac called the rose that grew from concrete type thing. That's deep, man. That's beautiful, though. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's, again, man, as a young man to have that kind of insight, and you rub shoulders with some heavy hitters like a Samuel L. Jackson. Have you spoken to peers about this kind of perspective that keeps you rooted in the values that you have, to not be motivated by the external stuff? It's like, have you talked to a Sam or, some of the people you worked with about this kind of perspective, about let it be about the work?
100%. See, even you just mentioned Sam, like that's his thing. Like, he is a work, like yesterday I asked him, I was like, have you ever taken time off? Have you ever taken a year off of work? He said, for what? I said, we laughed, and I was like, just chill or whatever. He was like, yeah, during COVID, but like he enjoys, he said even during that, like he was doing voiceover and like whatever, but like
everywhere.
he enjoys,
He's everywhere.
The work. But we go like, okay. And even like I sent him some work from Gaslit and one of his thoughts on it. And it was like, hey, what do you think about it? He was like, what does it matter what I think? I'm like, 'cause I would love to know what you think. He was like, well, you don't even need to know what I think. I was like, what? And eventually, after him saying it like twice, I was like, nah, you're right. I don't need it. 'Cause I don't need I don't need that validation from anyone, because it's all about the work. It's like, if you did you did the work. He said it was good eventually, but he was like, you did the work. You went to say you did what needed to be done. So like, if everything is always about like the work, then that is all that matters. You go, you do the work, and he'll say like, once the check cleared, you good. You keep going.
But what was you could have been asking him to require external validation, or you could have been asking just as a peer, like a constructive criticism. What could I do to help better develop my execution in the work? I mean, I hear what he's saying.
Yeah. And maybe I'll go into like the deeper part. But see, also it's like by individual that I get a chance to learn, because some of my friends are very like will think too hard about it, and I think I can like something think like Samuel's at a place where he'll go like he's come to a place where he goes like, none of that even matters. It'll be like, if you did the work, and like it doesn't matter what anybody has to say about it. Like, it matters what no one has to say. He said like last night at the panel, he was mentioning like visualizing and like working with directors. He said, I've already visualized this. I've already like done the work already. So when I come to work to do it, I don't need anybody to tell me how to do it, because I've already seen it. I've been there already.
Wow.
So it's kind of like believing within oneself that like I have done all the necessary requirements. Of course, I'll collaborate. We'll make it a good experience. But
right.
For him, he's like, I've done what needs to be done. And at the end of the day, yeah, it makes it all about, as long as you believe in what you did, that's what.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, not to overlook that part of it, man. Visualization, like, obviously believing in oneself, but almost visualizing and manifesting through your thoughts is a huge part. I mean, I work with a lot of mixed martial artists, and, people going to fight and stuff. Mike Tyson even talked about in his documentary. I visualize this. I've seen it happen already. So in order to like excel to that level, there's a certain aspect of visualization, which my opinion is very, very important. You just don't show up and then be like, hey, how do I do this? Like I said, once you've seen it already in your mind, that definitely helps as far as execution.
Yeah.
Well, when you got, I mean, like I said, you've been doing a lot, man. You've been doing a lot. And I mean, I don't know you, but I'm super proud of you, man. I'm super happy.
Thank you, man.
I mean, because I'm not, again, I've done some acting, commercial stuff. I mean, it takes so much work, way more than what people realize. And it's cool to be such a young man, to have such a good head on your shoulders, and to have, racked up just, again, this is obviously a byproduct of your passion and your dedication to your craft. But Gaslit, I mean, I went in, got went in and got a Starz account. I know I don't watch much TV, honestly, but I went in and got a Starz account and watched like all 7 episodes. I'm so glad you found Tuffy, by the way, man. Gosh.
Thank you,
And
man.
when people watch the show, they'll know what I
People
mean
love
by
that
that.
part.
Yeah. But what was that like, man, when you got that role? And I mean, obviously as a young man, I don't know how much you knew about Watergate or Frank Wills or saw all the presidents. I mean, he's gotten so little pub in the world to be so huge as he was in history, and all the presidents, man, he got barely mentioned. But obviously in Gaslit, again, he was the stone in the pond that created this ripple effect of a president have to resign. Getting that part, what was that like for you, first of all? And what was your prep like playing Frank Wills? Because I think he passed away young man, year 2000, and not a lot of information out there about him. What was it like when you got the part, and how did you prep for the role?
Man, I was crying when I found out I booked that role. I was crying. I believe I found that in New York. I was like, after we did Last Days, and actually I was some of this last night during filming. Sam was doing this big scene about, like, he was doing this big he kind of brought everybody together to do like this like homegoing for this character named Reggie in the show. So there's like, he's doing this big monologue, and so they said cut, and it's like my director session is in like 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm like, all right, cool. So like Sam ends up walking out of the set, off the set, and once he gets in his truck, it's like a little truck that takes him to his trailer. I was like, okay, I got at least 20 minutes. So he got to that truck at the right moment, and I ran to the trailer. The makeup people said, you can use our trailer. So I ended up like hopping on a Skype call right there and doing it with, not Skype call, but Zoom.
Zoom. Don't clown me, brother. Don't clown me.
I've been on a Zoom, did the director session. It was great. Yeah, man, I was really excited about booking that project because I knew the level of work that it was, but I didn't even know how big it was until like until I got it. Because once I did the director sessions, I went in and I found one of Frank's interviews, and in my hotel room in Atlanta, I recreated his interview and sent it in as like for them to just see me be the character. So like I got his accent down, and then just watched the interview just 100 times, and then I mimicked it and then put it side by side so they could look at me and look at him at the same time, just to give them a good visual. But once I found out like how important he was to the story, and I found this out as I was reading the script and as I started to do my research, I just got totally immersed. I mean, we did like preparation wise, it was a lot of research because there wasn't much information, like you just said, about Frank out in the world. I prayed a lot, and I just tried really hard to connect to Frank. Even in my scripts, I've never done this before, but like there was there's a section where on one end it'll be Patrick breaking down the character, and on the other end I knew what kind of handwriting Frank had, and I would write in his handwriting on the other side of the page to like just let his thoughts flow. So like it was like on a lot of back of my pages, it'd just be like what do they call it when this like streams of consciousness. I would just be writing from like his thoughts on paper. So I just try my best to just kind of connect to like his point of view and like how he saw the world. So that way when it came down to doing like episode 6 and even episode 2, I could give the audience like they could understand like what he did, like this big thing that he did, but they can also see like what kind of person he was or what kind of person I felt that he was.
Yeah.
I just really dove into my like psychological to get prepared for Frank, because he, as you saw in episode 6, he goes through it so heavy.
Yeah.
And he thinks his life is going to be one way, but it's not. And even stuff in the script that's not there when it came down to like the level of paranoia was something I wanted to play with. That like how paranoid he must be after doing something that heroic, but like also like it being detrimental to the government. Like there's this big scene with him in the bar and with his friends, which people love that scene. And it's great because he looks nervous. You see him being a fish out of water. But in the beginning of that scene is one of my favorite parts, because when he comes in and you watch him, even sometimes they didn't show too much of this, but like I'm looking all over the bar in that scene because I'm trying to see like who is watching me, who knows me, who works for the government, who is who, and he's around a lot of Caucasian people. So I'm like, who are these Caucasian? Like, is somebody trying to catch me? Is somebody after me? So it's like these thoughts of like I don't know what my life is. is succumbing to. I played a lot with that, so I just try my best to just key into his his psychological state at the time.
When I did find that scene interesting, I mean, just that kind of whole story arc with him, because he was kind of a fish out of water. It was his first day on the job, and then he winds up blowing this whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like he thinks life's going to be X, Y, Z. He winds up getting fired from the Watergate. And even the young lady you wind up meeting, I forget what she was trying to get you a job at, How or whatever. And you guys go to the bar and you meet Elijah Cummings, and everybody's, hey, what are you going to do? Are you going to change the world? Frank's like, I'm just Frank, just trying to get by and find my cat. You know, it's just like, I find that interesting because, you know, the expectation was, you know, Frank, wow, you just did this. And I mean, I don't know how he was grasping the gravity of everything he was into. And, you know, Frank walks out of the bar and didn't say bye. And I mean, it kind of seemed like he was off put by the position they were trying to put him in while he was just trying to be a regular dude. But man, everybody go check out Gaslit, man. It's so dope. I mean, like I told you in the emails, I mean, that's another question. How familiar were you with Watergate and the break-in and, you know, the whole thing? I mean, obviously you probably knew about not Reagan, but Nixon resigning. How much backstory did you have on any of this?
None of it. I didn't even know that Nixon resigned. I didn't know none of that. Didn't know any of it. And every interviewer asked that question. They go like, "Oh, well, what'd you know about it?" And I said, "I didn't know nothing." And I always say I blame my public school because I didn't know anything. But like, and it's a unique experience to like be learning about a part of history from like one man's perspective as I'm doing research on him, and then to learn about it from like the script's point of view, and then to learn about it from like the historical point of view as well. Because it's like I get almost like three different looks into it. Because I hear like, okay, this is what the media said about what happened. This is what the script is telling, because the script is telling a story from like different perspectives. And then, I mean, I watched old movies where it's like, okay, we see it from the president's perspective. We see it from these. So I'm learning about this major event, one of the biggest scandals in American history.
Really? Yeah.
I'm learning about it all. We're learning about different parts of it at the same time. So it was.
And honestly, as a history, I didn't even know who Frank Wood was. I mean, I knew they got busted doing the Watergate, but I didn't know just that seemingly insignificant observation of like, hey, why is this tape on the door? Led to all of this. And it's, you know, again, I'm a history guy, and when I was your age, I was really geeked out about the Kennedy assassination. And, you know, I said to you in an email, this show was a reminder how absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when you watch this, you see what, you know, former Attorney General John Mitchell does to his own wife to keep a lid on all of this stuff. It's heavy, man. It's really, really heavy. And, you know, unfortunately, I don't think a lot has changed. Well, whatever. A lot of things have changed, but how absolute power still corrupts absolutely, I think is still something we kind of deal with today. Man. Yeah. You got your hands in so much stuff. Walking that red carpet, man. I mean, obviously you've manifested your dreams and your goals. You know, you're getting invited to the Oscars, et cetera. Walking that red carpet, getting that role, walking that red carpet. What was that like, man?
It was special. It was really special and unique. A great thing about this time of my life is that I've avoided red carpets for all these years until these moments. Like I just officially walked my first real red carpet, I believe last year, and that was like for an independent film. But like my first real deal red carpet was with Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. So like where I went, got a nice suit, got everything together, and then went and, you know, they picked me up, and my dad was with me, so that was great. My dad flew into LA, and we did the red carpet for Last Days, so that was really special. My brother Jock came with me, and then just doing Gaslit, it was even more special because my mom came and my stepdad came, so that was really great, and they were able to see me do it. But I felt that the character belongs. You know, it's always really special when, as an actor, you feel like you're a part of the team, you know, and I feel like I've been a part of a lot of great productions, and Last Days was great. I had a lot of great work in that, but Gaslit has been a project where I knew my importance to the story. I knew that, okay, there's a lot of people here. There are people on every episode, you know, who have cool work, but I know like Frank is in terms of the ensemble, Frank's character is a part of the ensemble. I lead episode 2 and 6. Those are 9. We only got 8 episodes. So I was like, okay, as far as like the time on camera, like on camera, in the 6th episode, I'm on camera for like 20 minutes. I have like a 42-minute episode. So like those, I felt like I belonged. So I felt like I was able to walk with poise. I was able to walk with the spirit of God inside me.
Right.
I can walk with confidence, and I feel like I belong there.
Well, I mean, especially Frank Will's character. I mean, you weren't just a spoke on the wheel. Frank Wills was the wheel, and everybody else was a spoke. I mean, because without his action, like none of this other stuff happens. And so yeah, it's really blown away by it, man. And again, this is going to be one of those conversations for the archives, man. This young man, it's one of those. I wish there was a betting line on it, but you already hear of him now, but you are going to hear so much more of him. And you're not even just staying in the lane of acting. Sounds like you got your hand in producing, directing, Fortuity. Talk to us a little bit about Fortuity and your directing. I don't know if that was your directing debut, but talk to us about directing.
I love directing because it's the way, because I feel like to wait on an opportunity, I feel like it's criminal, like artistically criminal, to have to wait on opportunity, to just like as an actor to just audition, because it's great to be able to act and you get it recorded and send it in to the casting director, but to go in and like take hold of your own future, to say like, hey, get a bunch of friends together, even like the last projects I've directed, like getting budgets together and we go out and we got the same cameras they shooting these big shows with. We'll go out here and we make our own content. So like directing, producing, putting stuff together, it gives me great joy because I know I can really flex muscles that I may not get a chance to flex in other circumstances sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of, I mean, I graduated with a film and TV production degree and did that for several years. And then so I was doing that for a long time. And then once I got in front of the camera and voiceover and, hopefully I just know all the parts that are involved. So having that work behind the scene, behind the camera and then in front of the camera. But honestly, that was kind of my psychology when I started doing a podcast. Everybody's an ocean of podcasts out there now. But I was like, man, auditions, you can't wait for the next gig, create your own stuff. And so, this podcast I started doing begat another podcast, which is better than another podcast. I wound up, like I told you, interview George Foreman. I mean, taking the reins of my own, being captain of my own ship, if you will, taking my own reins of my own career, help manifest these other things instead of just waiting on more work to come because, the drill. It's, auditions come a dime a dozen, but, actually booking it is a different story altogether. And that's another thing, man. I'm going to let you slide here. Not just the hardest part about acting. Any tips for auditions? Because I always hear like, man, they know within 5 seconds once they see you. It's not about necessarily knowing the lines. It's kind of the look. What are your thoughts and what have you learned about auditions, do's and don'ts, et cetera, for any aspiring actors out there?
With auditions, like my greatest piece of any advice is always like, because you're right, like those first 15 seconds mean a lot because they can look at you and go, oh, he belongs or no, he doesn't.
Right.
So it's even just knowing that. Like if you know in your brain that like they will decide to click on and off in the first 15 seconds, I try to make the beginnings of my auditions mean they like be some moment, and I'm really big on moment before. So like I already be living in a world before I even go into the audition. I'm not just gonna start those lines. My friends, when we're doing auditions, I may just improv, then start the scene. Cause it'll be like you can, like you're cutting into this character's life instead of just like, oh, we just started right here with them.
Right.
So I'm big on like moment before, as far as audition prep. Also, just having fun and like letting myself make choices that like feel original to Patrick, cause at the end of the day, like people are coming to movies to see, like obviously the story, but they're coming to see those actors do what they do best. So like, I went to an audition once a few years back and I got a chance to just record, like operate the camera. It was probably like 5 years back. Not 5, maybe like 6 or 7 years back. But then I was recording for them because their camera went down. So I come in and, it's a casting director. Her name's Raven Drummer. And, I was just running the camera for her one day. And I saw all these different actresses come in and they were all auditioning for the same part. And I remember looking at them and going, everybody is making the same choice. Everybody. And I learned that like they were saying like 80% of the people come in the room and make the same exact choice. And I was like, I got a chance to see it right in front of me. And a really good friend of mine, her name is Jeffrey Maya, Hightower. Well, not Hightower, Jeffrey Maya for the world. But she's the lead on the new All American spinoff. And Jeff was auditioning for that at the time. And I remember Jeff coming in. I remember be like, oh shoot, there goes Jeff. She got to kill this. I remember her read was the one that I was like, oh, that was so different. And then when she walked out, they were like, "Yep, that's what she does." And then they were like, talking about how good she is. She didn't even get that role, but like one thing that wasn't, they were like, "Yes, see, that was different. That was a unique take on it." So I just try to, like, when I approach an audition, I try to find like Patrick's unique way to come about
Right.
a scene instead of just doing it how it looks like it should be done. I'm
Yes.
like, okay, now forget that. Like, let's give them me, you know.
Yeah, I remember, I think I was reading about Jason Momoa when he got cast for the head of the Dothraki in Game of Thrones. The casting director was like, dude, this cat came in and did one of those, I forget what those are called, the haka, or he came in and just killed it. Just like went out of the, not just like out of his comfort zone, because I mean, he's done that before, but it was just different. And she's like, wow, this cat is the head of the Dothraki. You got it. But again, like you said, taking risks, man, getting out of your comfort zone is, I've always heard that. And I've tried to emulate that in my auditions as well. But yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. Again, Patrick, I thank you so much for your time, brother. And, like you said, I was asking you, you were just wrapping up on Ambush, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Aaron Eckhart, Connor Paolo. What's that one? Ambush. What's that one about?
Oh, so Ambush is a Vietnam War epic, and it's really about this. There's several storylines going on, but essentially there's a camp that's been that's like, there's a few engineers, army engineers that are there, and then there's like a bunch of soldiers there. But like, just on a regular day, we are ambushed by the Viet Cong. So it's the time during the Vietnam War, but it is really about like, you kind of get a look into like the lives of some tunnel rats in a way, like the guys who were going in and like, once they were ambushed, they couldn't find where the shots were coming from because they felt like it was coming from all around them. And then Jonathan Rhys Meyers, his character, comes in and like, we go and we discover the tunnels beneath the ground, and everybody's shocked that like there's like miles and miles of tunnel that the Viet Cong have built. So in the movie, a group of really young engineers, they have to go in these tunnels and they have to discover. They're looking for a binder. Basically, there's a binder in the movie. The binder gets stolen, and then we have to go and retrieve that binder. So that requires us to go into the tunnels.
That's
so
cool.
It kind of works as like, and it's a lot of action, big explosions, all that good stuff. So it's an action movie in that right, but also there's an element of suspense because we go into these tunnels and the way that the director and the DP work together to kind of make it feel like the tunnel itself was another character. I think that's going to be really.
I was just going to say that probably elicits a lot of claustrophobia for people depending on how the DP and the director shoot that, because I don't know how those guys do that or did that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, dude. You're getting a little, a little trip down memory lane as far as history, as far, 60s and 70s. You got the Vietnam stuff. You got the Watergate stuff. That's fascinating, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool too, because to go from, because that was, Gaslit is 72, and then to go into the Vietnam piece, that was 66 that year. So it's fun to get a chance to play with certain elements, and even playing with like kind of like tones and sounds, and like how at that time like black people had a little song to them when they talked a little bit, like it almost felt like they were singing at the end of their words. So like choosing what to, what things you want to incorporate with different characters.
Well, and that's such a young man with not a lot of frame of reference, with that. But I mean, and I wasn't around either. But again, I'm a history guy and I love that kind of stuff. But it was such, the 60s and 70s, such a tumultuous time between the wars, assassination after assassination. I mean, it was just really, very traumatic time for our society. But yeah, it's cool you get a glimpse of that, man. But, Patrick, say what's up to your boy Jock for me, man. I appreciate, you taking the time. Again, I'm so happy for you, man. I'm so proud of you. And, you put in the work, bro. And this is a manifestation of your commitment to just being a killer human being. And that's what you are, brother.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. Patrick Walker, ladies and gentlemen, go check him out, please, in Gaslit, man. It is absolute fire. Is there a season 2 coming up, or is it just the first season?
So they're doing, it's a limited. So what they may end up doing is doing a different story, a different scandal, political scandal, and then like going down different lanes with different groups of characters and things.
Oh, wow. Fascinating.
Yeah, so that'd be really interesting if they keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Patrick Walker, I appreciate you, brother. You take care of yourself, man.
Thank you so much, man.
Peace and so much love, guys. Stay tuned. Much respect.